Hi everyone, just a brief, harrowing update on Israel and Gaza. It's been too long. Israel has confirmed the deaths of 6 hostages after the IDF found the bodies in Gaza, saying they were killed by their captors shortly before their bodies were found on Saturday in a tunnel complex under Gaza. According to our initial estimation, they were brutally murdered by Hamas terrorists a short time before we reached them, a military spokesperson, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, told reporters in an early morning briefing. Yes, I'm really sorry to have to say this, but that is what happens when instead of negotiating a deal, you fight your way to the hostages. They end up killing them. They were the leverage to get you to negotiate. If you refuse to negotiate and instead try to corner them and force their hand, they murder the hostages. Do I have to explain this to you, Bibi? Hostage taking 101? No, of course. He knows. He just doesn't care. The news brought calls for a mass protest from a hostage family organization, which blamed the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for failing to agree a hostage for peace deal with Hamas that has been under negotiation for several months. The organization warned that the country would tremble. Netanyahu's response to this tragic blunder?
בימים אלה, בשעה שישראל מנהלת משא ומתן אינטנסיבי מול המתווכות במאמץ עליון להגיע לעסקה, החמאס ממשיך לסרב בתוקף לכל הצעה. חמור מכך, באותו זמן ממש הוא רצח 6 מחטופינו. מי שרוצח חטופים לא רוצה עסקה. העובדה שהחמאס ממשיך לבצע זוועות כמו אלה שביצע ב7 באוקטובר מחייבת אותנו לעשות הכל כדי שהוא לא יוכל לבצע את הזוועות הללו שוב. אזרחי ישראל, המאמצים שלנו לשחרר את חטופינו נמשכים כל העת. מאז חודש דצמבר, חמאס מסרב לנהל משא ומתן אמיתי.
Honestly, such a despicable human being. He lies and manipulates easily as much as Trump and probably more convincingly. Everything he said was a lie. He's literally the one blocking the deal. We've got unnamed Israeli security officials who were quoted in the Israeli press on Sunday, blaming Netanyahu's insistence on holding on to the strategic territory in Gaza as the principal obstacle to a deal. The Israeli Defense Minister, Yoav Gallant, issued a statement calling for the cabinet to reverse a vote on Thursday to retain control of the Philadelphia corridor along Gaza's border. That's the one along the border with Egypt. Netanyahu is pushing to keep control of that. Hamas finds this unacceptable. It wants the full withdrawal of Israeli forces from the Gazan territory, and this is where the main disagreement lies. Unless Netanyahu is willing to yield on that, there won't be a ceasefire, and he does not seem likely to. He's always been the one blocking the ceasefire deal. The families of the hostages know this. Gallant knows this. Gantz knows this. The opposition parties know this. By now, everyone and their mothers in Israel know this. Look, there are about 65 hostages left. At the least 40,738 Palestinian people have been killed and 94,154 injured. And Netanyahu is willing to see every last one of those 65 hostages buried to prolong this war. Who's gonna stop him? Well, an organization representing many relatives of the abductees, the Hostage Families Forum, called for a nationwide protest against the Netanyahu government, which it has long accused of dragging its feet over a hostage deal with Hamas that the US and its regional allies have been trying to broker since the end of May. Netanyahu abandoned the abductees. This is now a fact, the forum said in a statement issued on Saturday night, when the first reports emerged of bodies having been found. Starting tomorrow, the country will tremble. We call on the public to prepare to bring the country to a standstill. It said in a further statement on Sunday, these 6 individuals were taken alive, endured the horrors of captivity, and were then coldly murdered. A deal for the return of the hostages has been on the table for over 2 months. Were it not for the delays, sabotage, and excuses, those whose deaths we learned about this morning would likely still be alive. Very likely true. Reports in the Israeli press quoted officials as saying that 3 of the hostages whose bodies were found on Saturday, Goldberg Polin, Yerushalmi, and Gad, would have been released in the first phase of the ceasefire deal under negotiation. The family of the 23-year-old Israeli-American Goldberg Polin had confirmed his death a few hours before the IDF named the victims on Sunday. They had spoken in the Democratic Party convention when the crowd chanted, "Bring them home." The family's announcement was followed by a statement from Joe Biden saying he was devastated and outraged. "It is as tragic as it is reprehensible," Biden said. "Make no mistake, Hamas leaders will pay for these crimes, and we will keep working around the clock for a deal to secure the release of the remaining hostages." Oh, you will? Thank God, Jack. Thank God. And I was getting scared there for a second that you've started working tiredly on the deal after tiring out of working on it for almost a fucking year now. But no, there he is, working tirelessly at it. All day, all night, sweating it out tirelessly. Good old Jack. So who's gonna stop Netanyahu from causing the elimination of most of the rest of the hostages? Well, I think it's clear it ain't gonna be Jack. Are there enough sane people in Israel willing to protest loudly enough to make Israel tremble and get Bibi to budge, make a deal, save the remaining hostages, and stop the endless massacring of Palestinians? Well, Reuters reports that the powerful Labor Federation, which represents hundreds of thousands of public sector workers, is considering a strike and would make a decision later in the day after meeting with families of the hostages. Israel's Manufacturers Association said it supported the strike and criticized the government for failing to bring hostages back alive, which it called a moral duty. And we've also got the Tel Aviv Municipality Services will participate in a half-day strike on Monday in solidarity with hostages and their families. The level of anger has to be at the least as strong as the last time they made Bibi reverse a decision, when he sacked and was forced to rehire the very same Gallant, I believe. Will it be? Let's hope so. Oh, and just when you think American politicians couldn't sink any lower, we've got Robert here, Tony Boy's national security advisor, threatening Kiar, Sir Kiar Esquire, MD, with trade embargoes, exclusion from the F-35 jets, and no more special relationship. If Starmer even so much as thinks of banning arms sales to Israel. They also want the UK to stop Khan from the ICC, I guess because he's from the UK. O'Brien said if a UK arms embargo was imposed, there is a potential there for a serious rift, whether it is a Harris or Trump administration, between the UK and the US, and I would tread very carefully. That's something the good guys would say, right? 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 See you soon, folks. Bye-bye.